Okay, great. Good afternoon and welcome to WRDC's 2023 to 2024 Annual General Meeting. My name is Niamh Redmond and I am the Vice Chair of Women in Resource Development Corporation's Board of Directors. Our interim CEO, Michelle Blunden, is unable to speak today. Unfortunately, she has lost her voice, so I will be filling in for her portion of the agenda. And I want to also thank Michelle, of course, over this last few months for her great leadership in her interim role. To start with our land acknowledgement, while we meet today on a virtual platform, we would like to respectfully acknowledge the territory in which we gather as the ancestral homelands of the Beothuk and the island of Newfoundland as the ancestral homelands of the Mi'kmaq and Beothuk. We'd like to recognize the Innu and Inuit and their ancestors as the original peoples of Labrador. We strive for respectful relationships with all the peoples of this province, and we search for collective healing and true reconciliation and honor this beautiful land together. Before getting started, I would like to go over a few housekeeping items. The documents discussed in today's meeting are available on our website. We will provide the link in the chat for your convenience. The meeting is being recorded, and we will also make this available on our website in a few days. Thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate and respect your time, and we will do our best to end the meeting on or certainly before our scheduled end time of 1 p.m. We do have a very full agenda, so while we may not have extra time for questions during today's meeting, we encourage you to contact us if you have any questions or you would like to learn more about WRDC. To start the meeting, we would like to tell you a little bit more about our organization. The vision of WRDC is that Newfoundland and Labrador women are empowered to achieve successful careers in advanced technology and skilled trades. Our mission as a nonprofit organization is committed to increasing women's participation in trades and technology, is to offer a variety of programs and services to address challenges surrounding the attraction, recruitment, retention, and advancement of women in these careers. WRDC has been a key partner for advancing gender equity in workplaces and on work sites for over 25 years. Our team of experts have worked with thousands of girls, women, educators, and employers across all sectors and industries. Please also note that WRDC's definition of women is defined on these slides. WRDC values diversity and inclusion. We lead by example with integrity and empathy. We support personal growth and advancement of gender equality, recognize collaboration and partnerships, and strive for excellence in all we do. It is now my pleasure to introduce you to our board chair, Nancy Andrews. Nancy has been a senior leader in communications, marketing, and government relations for more than 20 years. She is currently the Chief Engagement and Communications Officer at Canada's Ocean Supercluster, playing an instrumental role in helping shape and tell Canada's ocean story to the world. Nancy has worked in both the public and private sectors in Eastern Canada to help tell their stories, build brands, strengthen stakeholder relationships, and manage reputation. She currently serves on the WRDC Board of Directors and lives in St. John's with her husband, Glenn, and their sons. Over to you, please, Nancy.
Thank you so much, Niamh. So I just lost my screen here. Hopefully you can still see me. So just want to welcome everybody to WRDC's 2023-2024 Annual General Meeting. And prior to formally calling the meeting to order, I would like to just note a couple of things. In the event that myself or Niamh experience technical difficulties, we will cover off for each other for the balance of the meeting to make sure that we can get through the official business of the AGM. And so having noted that, we will officially call this AGM to order, and I'm just noting the time is 12:04 p.m. So for more than 25 years, as everybody knows, WRDC has been instrumental in increasing the participation of women in trades and technology in the province. And we look ahead now to the next chapter. There has been a demonstrated impact that serves as a foundation from which WRDC will continue to serve as a key partner to governments, industry, communities, and workers in the success of both established and many of those emerging sectors we're seeing in the province and beyond. And so realizing the economic benefits of major industry, large projects, and sector development depend on the workforce. And we know this, but we also know our workforce is only strengthened when there is diversity. And so as we reflect on the year gone by, it's with a great amount of pride that we take stock of all that has been accomplished at WRDC, and with an unwavering commitment to our mandate that we plan for what's next. As WRDC wrapped up its final year of its 2021 to 2024 current strategic plan and prepared for the development and deployment of its future-facing plan, which has been a very exciting process, the organization reached thousands with their awareness-building activity and engagement, training, and career pathways and programming. In addition to its core programming and services, this year also saw the successful delivery of major projects and collaborations with TechNL and other partners in Newfoundland and Labrador. This work focused on further helping workers who may not have otherwise pursued roles in trades and technology to do so, and helping employers with training, tools, and resources they need as they welcome new workers and greater diversity into their workplace. While there's been lots accomplished, we know that there's plenty to celebrate on the journey to achieving diversity, equity, and inclusion. We know that there is much work to be done in meeting the demand for talent. And whether it's during times of economic prosperity or otherwise, the diversity of workforce matters. It heightens our ability to be innovative, take on the big challenges, and most importantly, create new opportunities. So whatever the economic landscape that we're in, the work of WRDC serves as an important enabler of building well-skilled, diverse workforce that is essential for building our future economy and achieving the best outcomes and benefits for our communities, our province, and our country. I would like to recognize and thank the WRDC team and board for a successful year. You will not come across a more dedicated, purpose-driven bunch of people, and it's my honor to have the opportunity to work alongside them. And so I hope you join me in reflecting in all that has been accomplished over the past year with pride. This past year has seen the addition of 5 new board members, and with the conclusion of special projects, some changes to the WRDC team. And we would like to thank the WRDC team and board members who have completed their terms with us this year, and welcome those who have joined us to continue the important work of the organization. So I will take a moment to name and acknowledge the WRDC Board of Directors for 2023-2024. So those that are actively in place at this moment in time. As mentioned, we had 5 new directors this year. So I continue to serve as chair for this year, 2023-2024. Niamh Redmond continues to serve as vice chair, Monica Martin as treasurer, Barb Bragg as director, Nancy Wicks as director, Alison Butler, director, Bonnie Matthews, Ogaga Johnson, Kelsey Haley, and Jennifer Fury. I will note just through the course of the year, one of our directors, Jennifer Fury, had to step away from her role due to other commitments, and so we were pleased to fill recently that vacancy and welcome Erin Gillis as a director to the board. I would also like to take a moment to thank the board members for their time and commitment to WRDC and its mission, and hope they look back on their time on the board with a sense of accomplishment, especially those whose it's been their first year. It's often a bit of a learning curve, but hopefully also very rewarding. And so on behalf of the WRDC board and WRDC team, thank you. And so I will now move into the official business of today's AGM. So for my first job here is really approval of agenda. Last year, I got really excited and I combined approval of agenda and minutes. So this year I'm going to slow it down and make sure we get all this done appropriately. So I'd first like to ask our directors for a motion to approve the 2024 AGM agenda using the chat function. So I'll be looking for someone to make that motion and a seconder. And I cannot see that for some reason. I don't know, Neve, or if you can indicate if that's been complete.
No problem, Nancy. So we have Barbara Bragg to motion and Bonnie Matthews to second.
Okay, and so all in favor, and I have to ask, of course, anyone against. So again, you can use the chat for that. Okay, are we good there?
I do not see anyone else against. It looks like we are.
Okay, good to proceed. Thank you, Neve. My view here has changed, so we'll have to tag team on this a little bit. So for approval of the 2023 AGM minutes from last year's meeting, I would like to ask directors again for a motion to approve the minutes from the 2023 AGM using the chat function. Once again, asking for someone to make the motion and a seconder. And I'll combine it now and also just ask if there's anyone against, please indicate that as well.
I will
people
observe the chat. I can see that Ogaga has motioned. So we're looking for a second and then anyone to note if they are against. And I see Erin Gillis has a second.
Okay.
Very good.
Great, wonderful. Thanks, folks. So I will spend just a few minutes now going through the Board of Directors report. This is kind of the high level stuff. Of course, there's an annual report, which is more detailed, but wanted to kind of walk through some of the key kind of updates there. And so I'll move into that now. So it's my pleasure to provide you with the WRDC Board of Directors report for the 2023-2024 fiscal year. As we enter the final year of the strategic plan, as I've mentioned earlier, we began the strategic planning process for 2025 and onward. And WRDC continued to deliver on major projects and initiatives that increase the participation of women in both trades and technology across the province, and ultimately contributing to the well-being of our communities and economy. Many of these projects were core activities to the organization, which are part of the foundation of WRDC's service offerings. While there are also others that were special projects and initiatives that were funded outside of what we would consider regular programming allocation and delivered in collaboration with partner organizations. And with the completion of these one-time special projects, the complement of contracted staff to deliver them and operational budget was reduced as well to reflect that. On strategic goals, so our strategic goals guided by the final year of our strategic plan were focused around sustainability, partnerships, building bridges, and positioning. And so I'm not going to go through every funder, every partner, but I will provide a bit of a flavor in terms of the types of funders and partners and activities that have been delivered to support each of these strategic goals. So in terms of diversification of funding and revenue streams, funders include Immigration, Population, Growth, Skills, United Way, Department of Education, Women and Gender Equality, with industry sponsors including Newfoundland Labrador Hydro, Calibre Mining, Synovus, and Equinor, where diversification of funding and revenue streams continue to be a priority and a focus in the organization's next strategic plan in particular. In terms of diversifying and strengthening partnerships through the delivery of collaborative projects and initiatives, WRDC developed strong working partnerships with TechNL, CNA, and Ampere, formerly Pingwa Association, as well as new partnerships formed with Calibre Mining this year. And of course, these are just examples of the types of collaborations and partnership opportunities that are being established and explored. Inclusive skills development and policies and practices. So WRDC continues to partner with many different organizations, including the Provincial Advisory Council Status of Women, Canadian Career Development Foundation, Newfoundland Labrador Workforce Innovation Center, Social Research Development Corporation, and Community Employment Collaboration as a part of a 3-year Women and Gender Equity Canada. It's a wage project. And so these are really just to kind of name a few. There's quite a list. In terms of increasing visibility and public awareness, This past year, WRDC has continued to build its presence and visibility primarily in Newfoundland and Labrador, but also across the country. This activity is intended to further contribute to the awareness building amongst women of opportunities, pathways, and WRDC supports in place for them. Through the Digital Reboot Project, WRDC reached deeper into Labrador and other northern communities, providing employment readiness and wraparound supports for women and professional development for employers. WRDC reached an audience of thousands through speaking opportunities at major conferences, participation in roundtables, program marketing campaigns, and other promotional activity. The organization also recognizes the importance of such visibility and awareness building amongst government partners as future budgets are considered in context of where we are within the political cycle in particular at this moment in time. Challenges or opportunities. As some of WRDC's special projects wrapped up in 2023 to 2024, the organization adapted its operations accordingly. And so while this is not unexpected, the timeline of those deliverables and additional funding, it is a transition period. The majority of funding continues to be 1 year in duration. And so we continue to advocate with funding partners for multi-year funding to provide greater runway for planning, strategy development, and less administrative burden. So that is a conversation that continues. As mentioned, the board of directors welcomed 5 new directors this year, bringing new energy, perspective, and ideas to the board. With this, of course, significant transition in the board composition. New directors have been onboarded and engaged in committee work along the way. In addition to supporting organizational transition and onboarding of new directors, WRDC's board focused their efforts on the CEO work plan and succession, strategic planning, and building key partnerships. And so the next piece here I'll touch on is board governance. And so I just wanted to provide some examples of some of the key areas where the board focused its efforts this year. We completed our annual review process of the strategic plan and preparing for the next strategic planning process. We elected and onboarded 1 new member of the board executive committee in the vice chair role. We recruited and onboarded 5 new members of the board of directors, reviewed the risk register, and completed an annual assessment for WRDC, identifying potential risks and the associated management process and tools in place to address them. Completed a review of WRDC governance policies, approved annual budget, and conducted an annual audit. The board of directors completed board and individual director evaluations. The board executive completed an annual performance review process with the CEO and hosted WRDC's annual general meeting for 2023, of course. And so looking ahead and coming up, what happens next is we have the benefit of a long history of success and delivering impact in the province. And so this will help continue to shape Newfoundland and Labrador's workforce in trades and technology. Its programming has reached tens of thousands of women, girls, and gender diverse individuals over the years to encourage greater participation in these critical areas of our province's economy, and will continue to do so as we look at emerging sectors and skills in artificial intelligence and other enabling technologies that change the way that we do both trades and technology work in the province. And so given transition amongst the board, some staff, and most recently retirement of our longstanding CEO, Sherry Butt, the board and the incredible staff are working together with great ambition and excitement for this next chapter of WRDC, with announcements around the board executive committee for 2025 and the outcome of the recruitment process for the organization's new CEO coming very soon. As the team considers opportunities to expand and evolve programming to deliver the greatest impact, the board of directors continues to provide oversight against the delivery of strategic planning and mandate. For 2024-2025, the board of directors will work to finalize recruitment and onboarding of the organization's new CEO, as well as complete action the organization's forward-looking strategic plan. There is so much opportunity ahead for WRDC. I think there is, when you turn the page to a new chapter where there is transition and change, I also feel like it is incredibly exciting consider this an opportunity as well, to continue to evolve and bring that kind of impact that we know that we're capable of bringing to industry and communities in the province. And so, Niamh, maybe with that, I'll highlight the activities, or you'll highlight the activities in our 2023 annual report.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Nancy. They were some amazing updates. And I'd also like to add on that we are all very excited for this new chapter and to continue to finalize the strategic planning in collaboration with the board and the great WRDC team. So in terms of the highlights that I would like to, the annual report highlights that I would like to cover, for nearly 30 years, WRDC has been changing the culture of work in industries and sectors that have historically been inaccessible and unwelcoming for women. Our career development team has supported thousands of women and girls with the knowledge, resources, experiences, and connections they need to make informed career choices and successfully train and advance in these careers. Our gender and DEI team have assessed and supported hundreds of employers, delivered training to thousands of employees, and have provided direct linkages to skilled and qualified women. This year, WRDC has carried out an incredible amount of work in new and ongoing programming. However, our success goes beyond numbers. It is about the lives that we have touched and the positive changes that we have catalyzed. While I encourage everyone to please refer to the annual report for additional details, it is my absolute pleasure to highlight some of WRDC's activities and achievements for the 2023 to 2024 fiscal year. WRDC's highly trained and experienced career development practitioners conduct outreach and provide individualized career services and supports. Using a client-centered approach, we support women who face some of the most complex barriers in our province. This year, our career practitioners delivered 586 career sessions with 190 women, facilitated 105 labour market information sessions with 62 women, assisted 92 women with resume and portfolio preparation, and supported an additional 118 women with 145 skills development funding applications. WRDC's team also delivered 50 information sessions throughout the province, participated in 223 meetings with employers and industry representatives, and participated in over 2,000 meetings with community groups and education institutions. Our ongoing programs at the cornerstone of our work for the past 25 years are Orientation to Trades and Technology, and more recently, in Motion and Momentum Plus. Orientation to Trades and Technology is a 16-week program where women can explore careers in all kinds of industries. This year, 13 clients graduated from post-secondary institutions. 29 clients gained employment after completing one of our programs. 4 OTT programs were delivered across the province, with 36 women completing the program, and 5 clients completed in Motion and Momentum Plus. This year, with the great financial support of TechNL, WRDC provided funding to cover tuition costs and wraparound supports to OTT participants, allowing them to remove barriers to focusing on learning and future opportunities. Of the 36 women who completed OTT last year, 20 graduates applied to post-secondary institutions. In addition to regular programming, OTT participants also took part in our Tech Connect and Career Connections events and received referrals to additional training as well as post-secondary training programs. In partnership with the Canadian Career Development Foundation, WRDC delivered 30 cohorts of In Motion and Momentum, programming to Indigenous youth over 13 weeks between January and March 2024. The program focuses on foundational skills, building sustainable networks, and demonstrating the value of individuals' contributions. All the participants in the program moved into the next stage of their career development, either adult basic education or career acceptance. 3 Tech Connect events were held in partnership with TechNL, the non-for-profit industry association representing the province's technology and innovation sectors. These sessions, including an additional career connection session, provided information and advice for students, job seekers, employers, post-secondary institutions, and individuals curious about the thriving tech sector in our province. In addition, WRDC's Gender and DEI Services team delivered 8 professional development workshops customized for the technology sector. These were delivered to 94 participants representing 33 employers, with topics including creating a respectful workplace, diversity, inclusion, and you, microaggressions in the workplace, and allyship in the workplace. WRDC's research and evaluation team also conducted a tech sector DEI assessment to gather information about workforce demographics and workplace experiences. A total of 28 TechNL member organizations participated, and 23 diversity trackers and 655 workplace culture and inclusion surveys were collected and analysed. The final report will assist TechNL in developing practices, programs, and toolkits to support the sector in breaking barriers, promoting equal opportunities, and fostering an inclusive workplace culture. Information Technology Career Focus provided 39 women skills training and career exploration in the information technology and communication sector. In partnership with CNA campuses in 3 locations across the province, the project included individual client case management, group sessions focused on career mapping and planning, wraparound supports including technology, nutrition, transportation, and childcare. And the program also focused on increasing employer awareness of local talent, as well as inclusivity, accessibility, and diversity. The Gender and DEI Services team delivered 3 trauma-informed training sessions to 18 staff at CNA, as well as 2 broader gender and DEI information sessions. WRDC also developed a DEI guide for employers offering student work placements. WRDC's research and evaluation team were responsible for leading the evaluation component of the program, collecting data through pre-program, post-curriculum, and post-program surveys, as well as participant interviews. The Digital Reboot project was created when WRDC and other organizations identified significant barriers for Indigenous women's participation in career exploration programming. Funded through Employment and Social Development Canada's ESDC, Women Employment Readiness, WER, partnership with Ampere, formerly Pingwak Association, and Social Research and Demonstration Corporation. It was focused on removing barriers for Indigenous women through subsidies and access to training. There was access to wraparound supports, including transportation, housing, childcare, feminine supplies, and mental health services. And many participants made progressive steps towards future careers. Employers and educators in Labrador and Northern communities were offered trauma-informed and inclusivity training. While the program is now complete, the impacts of Digital Reboot continue to reverberate throughout these communities. An ongoing development of the final phase of the project, a learning management system, is going to be accessible to all employers and learners. These digital learning platforms will be launched in the coming months and will allow for the learning to continue through a dedicated and accessible portal. And this is all with the support from our funders and partners on all of these projects. In 2023 to 2024, we issued over $400,000 on wraparound supports and nearly $400,000 in tuition costs. Finally, we would very much like to congratulate our Trades and Technology Scholarship winners for the year. Since 2015, WRDC, in partnership with Newfoundland Labrador Hydro, has provided 6 $1,500 scholarships to women entering programming related to trades and to technology. These incredible women will continue the legacy of women in trades and technology in our province, and we wish them great success. WRDC's charitable arm, the Education Resource Centre, provides hands-on learning and career exploration opportunities for girls in science, technology, engineering, math, STEM, and skilled trades. STEM for Girls programs have provided opportunities to thousands of girls throughout our province, increasingly in rural areas. In 2023 to 2024, our virtual events reached new heights with 240 students participating in a wide variety of learning experiences. This is including extracting DNA from a strawberry, speaking live with astronauts on the ISS, and learning about robotics and coding. WRDC also offers a suite of gender and DEI services to organizations throughout the province and northern communities. During 2023 to 2024, WRDC's Gender and DEI team conducted 33 assessments to analyze workplace dynamics, climates, cultures, policies, and practices. Organizations then provided actionable insights and feasible recommendations. The team delivered 79 professional development workshops to 1,310 participants from 70 employers. Also, WRDC's research and evaluation team has been supporting employers with workplace culture and inclusion surveys, diversity trackers, and other research and DEI projects. Since 2015, the team has delivered 4,869 customized workplace culture and inclusion surveys. And since its creation in 2021, WRDC's diversity tracker has been completed by 24 organizations. This year, the research and evaluation team also completed its 30-month project, Increasing Pathways to Secure, Meaningful Employment. The project was funded by Women and Gender Equality Canada, WAGE, to improve low-income women's economic security by increasing access to employment. Increasing Pathways to Secure Meaningful Employment collected evidence-based research, created valuable tools and resources, and developed deeper partnerships at all stakeholder levels. This project helped WRDC to directly address systemic barriers and women's access to economic security and prosperity. Career Connections is a project allowing for career exploration for women and partnerships within our community. This year, more than 100 women participated in a total of 4 virtual Career Connection sessions, which were focused on cybersecurity, mining, and oceans and marine industry employment. Guest speakers represented industry leaders, post-secondary providers, and other women leaders in their industries. Participants were women interested in exploring these careers, and each participant was contacted again after the events to offer follow-up information and support. And of course, none of this impactful work could have happened without WRDC's highly skilled, dedicated, and passionate team. Each and every one of them has been instrumental to the organization's success. I, Nancy, and the rest of the board are truly honored to work with them and learn from this amazing group of professionals each and every day. WRDC's success is a testament to the commitment and compassion of our partner organizations, our financial supporters, our volunteers, our board of directors, and our staff. At this point, I would also like to thank our outgoing CEO, Sherry Butt, who dedicated the last decade to the success of women in our community. I am so inspired by and proud to be a part of this incredible group of collaborators. Together, we have a tremendous impact on the lives of thousands of girls and women, their families, their workplaces, their communities, and our province, and I cannot thank them all enough. At this point, I would like to turn it over to Deborah Feltham from Feltham and Associates to please present the 2023-2024 audited financial statements. Thank you, Deborah. Thank you, Deborah.
Good morning. Thank you very much for the introduction. And it's a hard act to follow with all of these wonderful statistics. And it's delightful to be the auditor, to go through this and to see some of the results that come from the numbers. We see one side of it, and then we see this presentation, and it's quite wonderful. So I commend the entire team there. I'd also like to thank Sherry and her team. particularly Kim and Danielle, who were super duper responsive to everything that we asked for and wonderfully helpful in our ability to complete the audit in an efficient and effective fashion. And they have continued to be supportive of our team every year that we have been engaged for the audit. So thank you to them. In taking a look at the financial statements, I have a few notes here, but I do note that the link is here on the screen at the present time because the full financial statements are not in the presentation that you'll see. And I will make some comments with regard to some of the notes. So if you want to actually take a look at the actual full financial statements, which include the notes as an essential piece to the financials, then the link is there on the screen. And at this point, we can move off to the statement of financial position. I'm just going to make a quick comment actually prior to starting my commentary on that one in terms of looking at our role as the auditors versus the role of those charged with management, particularly the WRDC team, both the board and staff. The responsibilities of management and those charged with governance for the financial statements are that the management is responsible for the presentation and preparation and fair presentation of the financial statements in accordance with the accounting standards for not-for-profit organizations. And they are also responsible for the internal controls as management determines is necessary to enable the preparation of those financial statements that are free from financial material misstatement, whether due to fraud or error. Our responsibility as the auditors are our objective to obtain reasonable assurance about the financial statements as a whole, that they are free from material misstatement, whether due to fraud or error, and to issue our auditor's report, which includes our opinion, of course, to the audited statements. We also made reference to things of identifying and assessing the risks of material misstatement, obtaining an understanding of internal controls, which were part of our audit procedures, and evaluating the appropriateness of the accounting policies. All of that is contained within our independent auditor's report, which is key to the financial statements preceding these financials that you're seeing in front of you. Now to speak just to a few dynamics of the actual statement of financial position, starting off with the WRDC financials. You'll note on here that cash has decreased by approximately 1.06 million. Receivables have increased by approximately 565,000, including the HST receivable and the actual receivables from government funding contracts, with a net overall decrease of almost $500,000. Correspondingly, the payables and accruals have increased by 425,000. The deferred revenues have decreased by 951,000, the notes of which are contained in note 8, and a net overall decrease of 536,000 comparable to the net overall decrease of the assets. Putting that into perspective and just talking about the dynamics as to why things would have changed, because it sounds like really big numbers. But if you can kind of look at the flow of where this comes from and how this is impacting, this is really some normal fluctuations of the current assets and liabilities. As you see, for example, that in some cases last year, the cash was much higher, just meant that funding was perhaps received near the end of the year for some contracts that were probably starting just after the end of the year. So lots of cash on hand, whereas this year, less cash on hand. You'll also see that there was some, like I said, receivables themselves were down last year. So like I'm looking at the 79,722 versus this year, it's 617,000. So a significant increase in the receivables, meaning obviously that that's not collected in the cash. And if you think that that may be concerning or anybody has any concerns to that, it's really, again, about the natural fluctuations of the timing of the actual contracts. So for that purpose, what we have done is more than what I see in some other entities, we have really put the notes there to say what the timing is. So if you were to look, for example, if I were to look at even the deferred revenue notes and also the receivable notes, this year the receivables had 3 significant receivables for 235,000 for Employment and Social Development Canada, that there was no corresponding amount last year. There was 112,000 from immigration, population growth and skills, no corresponding last year, and also for Penquay Associates for 244,000 this year that was not there last year. So the real lion's share of that 617,000 is for projects that are really just starting. Contracts have been signed, and so they're receivable. We do know that they're confirmed receivable, and they would have been received prior to the completion of our audit. So they're not currently still receivable. They are subsequently received. Correspondingly, you'll also see last year that, again, a lot of that cash that was received, that 1.264 million, was sitting really in the deferred revenue. So there's a real correlation there between that cash and the deferred revenue. Again, in relation to the timing of when the monies are received for the contracts and whether that is late in the year or early in the year, and whether or not, for example, money was received in the month of March, but the expenditures didn't happen yet because the project's really just getting underway. So it's really about that timing. So that's what we've observed, and that has been a pattern that has fluctuated over the years, both up and down in that direct correlation between cash, AR, a little bit of the accounts payable there, and the deferred revenue. So really on the balance sheet. The one new item that is on the statement of financial position this year is that board reserve for 15,000. And then again, the policy on that is disclosed in note number 9. In looking at the statement of revenues and expenditures, I'm going to have limited commentary on this, other than to say basically that the increased funding this year is almost 1.9 million over last year. So it's gone from that 3.03 million up to the 4.9 million, significant increase. A lot of new programs and funding opportunities. And of course, you just heard the description preceding my presentation on all of the wonderful things that were achieved with this. And so you'll really see that the one commentary I'd have that is that all of these are within the normal budgets that were defined and approved by the board based on the discussions with those charged with management. So the corresponding increase in expenditures is the 1.86 million. The excessive revenues over expenditures from operations this year was $36,000. And that's everything on WRDC. So flipping off a little bit then to ERC, which is a little bit less dramatic of an increase and change. You'll see that the cash there has increased, by $67.8 thousand. Receivables decreased by similar amount to what the cash had increased. So again, just a fluctuation of timing of collections. So the receivables have decreased by the 74.7K, with an overall net decrease of approximately 7,000, going from the 197 to the $190,000. Correspondingly, the liabilities, you've seen that the accounts payable and accrued liabilities have decreased by approximately 2,000, and the deferred revenue have increased by 5.9 thousand. And again, that is outlined as well in detail by organization, or by program, I should say, in note number 7 of the financial statements. Similar to what was on WRDC, there is a board reserve there, and again, a policy of note disclosure in note number 8 for the $45,000. The excess of revenues over expenditures coming in at the $1.3 thousand. Looking at the statement of revenues and expenditures, again, not as dramatic a change, but some shifts because of new programs as old programs are replaced with new. And of course, as was discussed earlier in the presentation, contracts are often 1 year, so then they're renewed, sometimes revised into something new, and have a new name and a little bit of a new face. So you'll see a little bit of that there. Net change, of course, in revenues is approximately $25,000 increase in ERC this year, with a corresponding net increase in expenditures of $24.3 thousand. And that's everything that I have in the presentation.
Thank you very much, Deborah, and to your team for all your work on this this year. And so I guess the next official piece of business here is to announce the appointment of auditor for next year. And so I would like to share that Feltham and Associates has been appointed for WRDC's 2024-2025 annual audit as well. And so maybe what I will do before, just a couple of other things to watch for. You would have heard mention of this earlier in the remarks, but we are looking forward to, in fairly short order, to announcing our new CEO and the board of directors for 2024-2025, including the executive committee. So stay tuned for that as we roll that information out. And then I think the final piece of business for me before I hand it back over to Niamh for closing is to adjourn the meeting. So with the completion of the formal agenda, I will now adjourn WRDC's 2023 annual general meeting, and just taking note of the time as 12:45 p.m. And with that, I'll hand it back over to you, Niamh.
Thank you very much, Nancy. And thanks again, Deborah, and to your team. I want to thank all our board of directors for your unwavering support and commitment. I'd love to thank our the WRDC team, experienced team of professionals for your passion and expertise. To our supporters and partners for sharing and supporting the organization's mission, vision, and mandate. None of this would be possible without all of you. And finally, thank you for attending, everyone, today. Thank you for attending our AGM. You'll be seeing much more from WRDC in 2025. Thank you all.